I'm just going to say this. If what I'm hearing is true, finally! Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to an episode of MDK Racing Inside the Lines. Hope y'all are having a good day. I know I'm having a good day because of the news that we just heard, according to Bob Parkers, about where NASCAR could go in 2024 and beyond. Now, with the overwhelming success of NASCAR in downtown Chicago a couple of weeks ago, the possibilities are endless of where NASCAR could take the Cup Series. They've raced on dirt at the Bristol Dirt, proves that is effective. They can race around a street in a major downtown city. They prove that can work. Basically, the possibilities are endless that NASCAR could take the sport anywhere in the world. But if you were to ask race fans, where would you like to see NASCAR go to next? I'm pretty sure a lot of them would say Canada. Well, guess what? Looks like those dreams are about to become reality very soon. According to Bob Parkers on his newsletter following the race at Atlanta yesterday, industry personnel have indicated that they have been told to get their passports ready to race in Canada as early as next year, with more than likely Montreal being the prime target. Not only that, he followed up with this little quote. According to a Canadian Grand Prix spokeswoman, confirmed that they have had preliminary conversations with NASCAR regarding a cup race in Montreal, and those conversations have been, quote, ongoing for quite some time. Now, NASCAR and Canada have had a large history between the two. Obviously, we know that NASCAR has its own series in Canada called the NASCAR Pinty Series that race in a combination of short tracks and road/street races across Canada. Obviously, NASCAR has raced in Canada across its top 3 divisions. The Truck Series competed there from believe 2013 to 2019 in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. The NASCAR Xfinity Series raced in Montreal at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve from 2007 to 2012, which, again, if you haven't watched any of the Montreal races for the Xfinity Series from those eras, please watch it. I beg of you. You have no idea how badly I want NASCAR to be in Montreal. If you were to ask me anywhere in the world I could say NASCAR to go to, Montreal is my #1 pick. I've always been clamoring for NASCAR. If you're going to go international, please go to Montreal. Montreal, we know they love racing. We know, of course, from the Canadian Grand Prix for Formula One. And even when the Xfinity Series was there, it was really packed for them to show up for NASCAR. Even though it's a second-tier series, they still showed up during this time in that era from 2007 to 2012. So I would love, and the fact that more than likely, even though it hasn't been confirmed yet, we know the NASCAR schedule is going to roll out in about a month or so. Usually around August, early September is when the schedule for next season comes out. So we may have to wait a little bit longer. But with that, knowing that NASCAR could take the Cup Series anywhere in the world, on top of that, you have ongoing conversations about with NASCAR and Garage 56, how that opened up so much area, so much room for international races. NASCAR holding talks about potentially holding international races across the world, Europe, Australia, wherever, with numerous countries following the success of Garage 56 at Le Mans. So, and you also have to throw in the fact that NASCAR, with this new TV deal coming up in 2025, so many things are piecing together for possibly 2025 being the wildest schedule in racing history. All right, I'm not just NASCAR history, in racing history. So I am super excited. And NASCAR back in Montreal. Oh man, I can't get too ahead of myself because it's not been confirmed, but I mean, how can you not be excited? And now on to some not really sad news, but disappointing news. The ARCA Menard series. We know how much of a shit show that has been for quite some time now. I think the last time the ARCA series was worth watching was, I don't know, when did Barbie Gerhardt last race? 2014, 2015, around that era? But since then, it's just been pathetic to watch. And another example of that took place at Mid-Ohio when Venturini Motorsports drivers Dean Thompson and 16-year-old driver Sean Hingorani, sorry if I mispronounced that name, were involved in an incident in the final closing laps. Now, apparently, I didn't watch the race, but those two had a bit of an incident, had something going on. But what Sean did, he waited till the final lap to take out Dean Thompson. Both went into the gravel. Sean wasn't able to finish the race. Dean was credited with a 10th place finish. And this is just another example of the lack of just care, just a lack of just zero F's given. This is just another example of pay drivers that clearly don't respect the people that put the hard work, hard effort into building the cars, the personnel, getting the car to the racetrack. And this is the ARCA series. This is not the Cup series where you have big time teams where something like this can happen. It doesn't really affect their pocketbooks. I mean, venturing into motorsports, yes, they are probably the most famous team in the ARCA series. They ain't built made of cash. So to do this is so stupid. And ARCA officials agree with that. They have put him on probation for the remainder of the season and has suspended him for the next race. But you go with him. I think Jesse Love had incidents where he was just not giving a damn about anybody, running into drivers. I mean, I understand money talks in the sport, but man, this system is so broken that you have paid drivers like him that clearly don't respect the craft that the people put on the cars, that the ones that he is driving right now, to go out and do that, to not only wait till the final lap to wreck somebody over an incident that probably wasn't that big of a deal, but to do it to your teammate is a whole nother, that is a big no-no. It's one thing to wreck a guy. It's another thing to wreck your teammate, because you're all under the same banner. What he did costed even more money to be lost to the Venturini guys' pockets because of that. Where had he not done anything, at least Dean would have gotten, I think, a second or third place finish. They would have brought in some money home. Now they got no money, and they lost even more money because of his actions. Absolutely disgusting by him. I mean, Hingorani has made 4 starts for the team in the 15 car. I think 3 third place finishes during his run. But I don't know how you could still hire a guy like that. I'm surprised there hasn't been any reports of him still having a job. I'm shocked that I haven't heard anything about him being fired or anything like that, because that is unacceptable. And people saying, "Oh, well, he's just a kid." Dude, you're 16, man. There's just some things that you just don't do. A 10-year-old knows that you just don't wreck your teammate. You don't. It's one thing to wreck another guy. It's another thing to wreck your own team, because that means your team is going to lose twice as much money. It's just, And finally, the worst kept secret in the NASCAR garage the past few months has been what would be Busch Light's next move in NASCAR. We know that their current driver, Kevin Harvick, will be retiring at the end of the season, and all sources said that it is expected that Busch Light would pair up with Team Trackhouse and Ross Chastain to sponsor the #1 car in 2024, and that has now been confirmed. Busch Light will be part of Ross Chastain and the #1 car next season, confirming their exit from SHR at the end of this season. Now, again, this is no surprise to anybody, and I feel like it's kind of fitting. It's poetic in a sense. Because if you remember, back, I believe it was 2018 at Darlington, Ross Chastain's first big moment with a driver was with Kevin Harvick, the Xfinity Series. And Kevin Harvick said, I believe in an interview, something along the lines of, that's why he won't be able to drive these things for much longer, based on how aggressive he was, since he was taken out by Ross Chastain. Fast forward, Chastain takes Harvick's sponsor. Didn't really take it, more like retire, but I know, in a way, I feel like it's kind of funny, and it goes full circle. But one thing that's very interesting with SHR, it's weird, this team, I mean, because they didn't even bother. The SHR, or I should say Busch Light, it looked like they made this announcement months prior, before Josh Berry was even in the picture, probably. So they weren't waiting around for SHR. As soon as Harvick said he was going to retire, Busch Light, they were ready to leave. And it's shocking. SHR, I wouldn't say they have fallen, but man, first they lose out on Kyle Larson because of Ford executives, and now they lose out on a major sponsor. Busch Light's a premier sponsor of the Cup Series. They play a huge factor in NASCAR. Millions of dollars Busch Light puts into the sport, and now they're taking all that money and going to Trackhouse. And might I say, Trackhouse, they have just been clicking it. They're bringing in new sponsors left, right, and center. Ross Chastain, I mean, they have already, all their sponsors already laid out for this year, probably even next year already. It's funny. Trackhouse getting bigger, while SHR, the mighty SHR, seems to be getting worse. It's going to be very interesting to see how SHR will handle the 2024 season, since Busch Light was the anchor sponsor for the 4 car. Now with them leaving, obviously, we know that SHR has said that they are talking to current and potential new partners for the 4 car, but when you think about it, Probably Gear Wrench may stay. Hunt Brothers Pizza, that's mainly a Harvick sponsor. We don't know if they will be back for next year. They got Gear Wrench and Mobile One, and I believe that's it for the 4-car, at least to my knowledge. But outside of that, Busch Light and Hunt Brothers Pizza, there are Harvick sponsors. Busch Light's leaving. Would Hunt Brothers Pizza stay? Again, that's yet to be determined, but it is very interesting to see kind of the rise of Trackhouse. And again, I don't want to say the fall or the collapse, but the past few years, SHR has just gotten worse and worse with some of the business decisions that they made. Again, not signing Larson, and now you have a major sponsor, Busch Light, leaving. And don't get me wrong, Josh Berry is a great driver, but he ain't going to save SHR. I think SHR, they're going to be in for one hell of a roller coaster ride, and not in a good way. When you look at how the other 3 drivers are racing, I mean, Chase Elliott, he is higher in the point standings than Almirola, Preece, and Briscoe. And Elliott didn't race in 7 events, and he's still ahead of them in points. Briscoe, for some reason, that team is a top 30 team. I mean, almost every race, you see them either in the top 25, top 30 range, almost every race weekend. Almirola, beside his one shocking pole at Atlanta, hasn't done anything. The same as Ryan Preece, outside of the LA Clash and Martinsville, he hasn't really done anything. I will say this with Busch Light and Ross Chastain. I mean, I'm 21. Now, I gotta say this. With Chastain and Busch Light, if y'all don't go out with the watermelon flavored beer, I'll be very disappointed in you. I don't drink beer, so I would have drank it regardless. But, I mean, I'm just saying, it's right there for you. I mean, the man smashes watermelons every single time he wins a race. Why not smash watermelon flavored Busch Light beers after every race? I think that's a great idea. Or you could do like a Stone Cold, smash some beer cans together and drink them like that. I'm just saying, it's a perfect relationship, I think, that could be between Busch Light and Chastain. The only thing I do hope is that, unlike some of the other sponsors in today's NASCAR, they actually use Chastain, and by that actually put him in commercials, actually invest in your product, especially with a guy like Chastain, who is for sure going to be in the headlines in some way, shape, or form almost every Sunday. But what are your thoughts on these 3 stories? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.